have a solution. The Whine No Whine Show, where you can be friended and offended all in the same hour, where we gather people from all different walks of life and perspectives, and we talk about everything that everyone has told you not to. Religion, politics, and everything under the sun. Nothing is off limits, and we do it all over a glass of wine. So grab a glass and join us as we save America, one civil conversation at a time.
3, 2, 1, action!
Welcome to the Whine No Whine Show. I'm your host, Chris Weston from Texas Music and Art, Plain Colors. This is the only show you can be friended and offended at the same time. Now, we're going to go around the room real quick, hear from all our special artists that we have come out today, see who they are, see what they do, see where you can find them. All right, ladies first, obviously. We'll go counterclockwise.
My name is Carrie Ballberg. I have been an administrative assistant at many oil and gas companies, but I'm also a writer.
Very cool.
So, kind of both trying to get off the admin train, but I'm still good at it.
Very cool. You got anything coming out soon?
I'm working part-time somewhere,
Very
and
cool.
it's just, I've been doing it for a long time, and I'm tired of it.
Definitely.
But it's, it's,
Very
it's a
cool.
give and take. I've
Yeah.
been in oil and gas, I've been in energy, so
Very cool.
right now I'm in a construction company.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Thank you.
Would you like to introduce yourself to
Sure.
our wonderful audience?
Of course. I'm Phoebe Kelly Serrato, and in the past I worked for aerospace
So cool.
for several years, and I worked also as a vocal instructor, and then I married that with vocal coaching.
Very cool.
I have been a professional singer in the past. I still do that for private parties only. And yeah, ooh. And currently I have delved into training with leadership coaching in the past 7 to 10 years when I left aerospace. And I'm now a cybersecurity coach. And Joe invited me here tonight. This sounded very interesting. And so that's where I am right now.
Very cool. Thank you for coming out. I mean, we love having y'all.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Alicia?
Hi, I'm Alicia Jean. I was a teacher and the head of the science department for 16 years in Sci-Fair. I switched. I took out my retirement, started a music and art production company about 3 years ago. I'm an artist. I'll be on the show again in August for my art, and then I also sing. I'm singing tonight, and I've done leadership training as well, and just happy to be here.
Very cool. I mean, we heard the rehearsal going on from outside. It sounds amazing. Make sure you guys stick around to see that performance. You wanna get your shameless plug in, bro?
Yeah, so I'm Uriel Garcia Vega. You can Google my name. You'll see a lot of my designs. I do jewelry. I've been doing jewelry since I was 8 years old. Became a master when I was 12. A master in restoration, soldering, repairing. I got into the manufacturing and fabricating with big companies all over Houston. Actually, 5 of the major companies in Houston. I work with all of them with AutoCAD designing and making their blueprints, being a subject matter expert throughout the whole shops. And I actually got offered a job at the University of Houston as a subject matter expert for manufacturing,
That is awesome.
fabricating,
Cool.
fluids, and all the above on the technology side of making any kind of product. So I design products, mainly jewelry. I do automotive design, product design, and I mean, it just goes. It's
You're a
indefinite.
busy man.
I'm a busy man, right?
Very cool, dude. Well, thank you guys again for tuning in. If you're just tuning in, this is the Whine No Whine Show Artist Edition. So we've got some amazing artists. Now, the topic for today is male privilege a myth? We're going to get through this. Don't worry. We're going to get through this. All right.
The man would drink it.
Yeah. So we're going to go around the room, see where everybody's stance is, some initial thoughts, and then we'll dig right in. Man, it's super pretty.
Oh my gosh,
I
that
want to
is
wear
so
your
beautiful.
rings. Can I see them?
I don't wear all his rings.
Sorry to go off
Let's
topic, but this
focus.
was catching my eye.
It is gorgeous.
It's flowers and leaves and
That is super pretty.
Beautiful. Take a look at that, guys.
All right,
Isn't that
ladies.
gorgeous?
Yes.
Isn't it lovely?
Yes.
I focus on organic design, so
Mm.
anything organic is my thing.
Mine
I'm really,
Lovely.
my designs are based.
I'm just kidding.
Like how I
All the ladies
diverted
want to
the
talk to
topics.
you.
I put a different finger. It's mine.
So
No,
again,
there you
thank
go.
you guys for having all of us. Again, I'm Chris Weston, your host for tonight from Plain Colors and Texas Music and Art. Come out and see us at shows, and we're doing all kinds of events. Now, what do you all think about male privilege? Is it a myth? Is it not a myth? Is it? I mean, I want to find out where y'all stand on this point.
Ladies first.
Ladies
Oh,
first.
thanks.
We're gonna
It's a myth.
find
Oh,
our
you throw
stable
it to
ground.
me?
What y'all thinking?
I think both sides have their own privileges, whether you earned it or whether it's inherited.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty true.
I mean, like I used the example earlier. If I go take my car to get an oil change, there'll be all kinds of things wrong with it. If a guy takes my same exact car to go get an oil change, all of a sudden there's, it's a perfect car.
Mm. So
That-
just
that-
because
that's
you
how
know-
I see it. I feel like I always get taken advantage of when I get my car.
I mean, I do too as well sometimes. I mean, don't feel bad, but
Yeah.
that does happen though, because I mean, normally guys are normally working on cars more, whereas women aren't really in the mechanic shop where I feel like they should
but
be.
even if you don't, it's like you've got a little bit more of a dominance. There,
Yeah.
'cause I'm more of a passive when I go there because I feel like if I do something, I'll mess up my car.
Mm.
So
Can't have
scared
that.
of them.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on the woman too. Depends on your knowledge of your own product.
True.
Depends on how much know-how you have. But men as a there are some men that don't have that product knowledge too, and they get taken advantage of just as
True.
much. But as a general rule, the fact that male privilege being a myth, I would say that it's not necessarily the case. I think men are more privileged than women. Still, I think that the consensus, across the board is that women are becoming more equal with men as time goes on.
Hopefully. Not getting there.
At least the research is telling us that. But indicators in the internet that we read as we were prepping for this still tell us that males are not necessarily privileged, and some indicators are telling us that they are. So it's kind of a
Give and take.
give and take type of thing, and we're seeing stories that show both.
Definitely. What you thinking, Alicia? I know you're
I'm like,
got a lot to go on this topic.
I do, and I'm going to try to be more succinct about my thoughts. But for the car situation, I think education is key. Regardless of sex, I think if you care enough to take the time to educate yourself about your car, and there's YouTube videos, and I have different female and male friends who work on cars that I can ask them their opinion before I go, or they can show me how to change my oil. I think that anyone, regardless of sex, has the likelihood of being taken advantage of if they don't educate themselves about the area that they're trying to get help in.
Definitely. I feel like
that's my
everybody should
first.
know how to work on their own car.
Right.
Hopefully,
I mean,
I
I don't have the giftings to do that,
Of
so I have
course.
to rely on someone to help me. But
Yeah.
I do have the ability to understand simple things, like if I
Exactly.
go research it. And
Yeah, definitely.
I think time is an issue.
Mhm.
But then on the male privilege, I think I think it's situational, and I think that,
I can see that.
men are beat down in our society. For as many females who, don't feel like they get equal pay or the same rights, I think there's just as many men who, they wonder why do females in Texas have more chance of getting custody of their kids. Does that mean that? I mean,
I've personally went through that. I have split custody with my kids,
Oh man, that's
and
rough.
like the things she's done. Like if I would have done it, I would have been locked up. I would have lost my kids. But the Texas system is more on the female side when it comes to that specific topic. But overall, I think mentally and physically, males do have more privilege in when it comes to emotions. Emotions, we're able to stand our grounds better, but mentally, emotionally, yeah, we're like women are a little like different when it comes to emotions.
More in tune.
In tune with their emotions,
Yeah.
right? Men, when it comes to physical and mental, we are strong, but women are smarter mentally. Women are smarter than men mentally, but emotionally wise, guys are a little bit more like stronger. They hold their grounds.
I mean, through genetics.
Through genetics, yeah.
That's it.
Would you say that you think men are raised to be be made feel like they can't express themselves as much as women, rather than it's a true biological thing?
I think it's a biological thing, really, because we're not wired the same. Like women get triggered a lot faster emotionally, so that's where the men have the advantage of being looked at as an asshole or privileged, because we can move on a lot faster with emotion than women can. Women can actually be depressed for a whole year or so on. Guys can probably be depressed a month or two and then move on with their physical and mental state.
So like Alicia was saying, like, do you think it, heavily depends on who the parentals are? Like, what if it's a young man and he's got two moms, and no strong father figure or whatever you want to call it to teach him how to be a man or all that nonsense. I mean, you've got different situations.
Or could have two dads.
Or two dads, exactly, and
It's different.
It could be biological too. I guess it's
Yeah.
just from my standpoint of how I got raised.
Yeah.
I mean, I come from a Mexican background. Like we're like real machista. Like,
It's like,
what are feelings? Like,
yeah.
like so we're like, let's pick this up. But let's pick this up. Let's show women that we're strong, and let's show them we're like, it's just, I guess it's from everybody from different standpoints.
Yeah, the Spanish culture is completely different. I know what you're talking about because I understand that.
Men can be really romantic, like us Hispanic men, we're the most romantic. So we show a lot of emotion to our partner, but we won't show them how much we're hurt.
That's true. You hold that in.
We hold that in.
Yeah.
I think most guys just bury that.
Yeah, we're that's what I'm saying. Like we have a privilege in that, being able to control our expressions and our emotions. Most women don't. They show it off real quick. They're real clear with it.
But some women don't.
Some women don't.
Some women do hold it in, also based on culture.
Yeah, that calm collectedness is like, that's it.
It's a volcano waiting.
Right?
To
You're like, well, what's gonna happen? That's the scariest.
I wanted to
feeling.
bring another observation up that's really interesting in two different business, settings that are the kind of in the science world, which is really interesting. The astronaut corps, for example. The last selection of astronauts, there were 6,000 applicants. When the final selection came down, the selection of the actual astronauts that were selected, 2 women, 8 guys.
What?
Yeah. 10 people were selected, 2 women, no, I'm sorry, it was 4 and an 8. Okay, so and the thing that surprised me was that there were so many women elected, but still that 8 was still a lot larger.
Still not equal.
It wasn't an equal selection of balance. And I made that comment. I wasn't inside, NASA at the time, or even inside as a contractor, but in a conversation with the center director that I had at a dinner, after the selection, I asked her, why didn't we have an equal selection of men and women?
Yeah,
and she said, and she actually answered me and said, we're not there yet.
What does that mean, though?
No, well, I never got a full question, but you go ahead.
What I would say that means, if I could presume to think like a director of something, one in charge of something like that, we're not there yet, would mean that that's how many women were physically, emotionally, and psychologically prepared to handle the challenges of the job. Maybe we're not there because not very many women feel like they would have a chance in our society, but I really don't think so. Even in middle school, when I taught middle school science, we had an Exxon Mobil put on a thing where I got to take all females to do challenges to build trebuchets and all kinds of things. And so they're really there are more programs out there to assist females than there are males.
Really?
Well, that's possible, but not likely, because the applicants that were in the pool
They're like
were
top 1%.
highly qualified, and the thing is, of the 6,000 people that applied, it gets broken down into various groups of highly qualified people. So I really think that it's a matter of, because they're selected by panel, and we don't know who's in the panel.
Are all of the, so if they select 12 people, are all of the jobs equal, or are there special functions that each job would have to do? So you would have to meet certain qualifications.
You have to meet certain requirements.
Okay.
The requirements are very specific. So
they're specializing in certain things, so they may only need one of these.
I think women are just likely to qualify and have those requirements,
Right.
but they haven't been given the opportunity or the mentally
Right.
prepared by the rest of the guys, or like how the guys have been
Right,
prepared. Like
exactly.
you can do this, you're
Right.
a man. Like that
Exactly.
influence,
That's
that,
true.
that push.
But women are just as capable of
Right,
going
I
up into
think so too
space
as
as
well.
males are. And in some cases, they do better because
Right.
they hold their bone mass better than men do.
They do, you're right. That's physically true.
I think
Really?
like
I learn new stuff
I
all the
couldn't
time.
articulate it well enough, but what I was thinking is, like, say they need a pilot and a navigator and a this and a that. If all of the female applicants, maybe they only applied for maybe one or two of those areas and they only needed this many. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well,
It's
that's
like,
true
what
too.
if-
That could be the
what if
case.
the-
But they usually have a whole bunch of those people, and then they put them through training to be able to fly and do all those things too.
Mhm.
The other thing too is the situation that's going on with our Supreme Court now. We've got how many? We got one. Do we just have one Supreme Court female?
One or two, I think.
I think we just have one, and then we have nothing but guys.
I just think the women haven't been given the chance yet,
Yeah.
and that time is
But we
coming very
have
soon.
we have two.
I think the time is coming soon where
for
women-
consideration. Which is
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Right.
So we'll see what happens. But there's still a preponderance of men sitting on the Supreme Court.
Back
That's
back to
true.
the topic of
privilege.
like, the privilege thing. Like, I think men being privileged is myth. It's true because I think the world runs. Women make this world go around, and like the men are the one on the forefront of chasing these women for the world to keep going around.
Yeah.
So we're privileged to be in the forefront of everything.
Very well said.
So we're like fighting for that spot to keep the world going in a circle.
What do you think about the fact that, because you made this point earlier, and this is just a question that's just come into
Go
my
for it.
head. What do you think about the fact that, there's a set of parents that raise, men, children that are boys, and that it's not necessarily the case that they do spend time with their mother most of the time, but there are a large portion of single parent families that are run by women. And how does that impact the privilege factor?
Well, you're talking about fatherless boys.
Yes.
And there's fatherless, girls too.
Well, of course,
I
too.
have that, but I don't have daddy issues. Don't get me started, but I do have parents.
But I'm talking about the
That don't
boy
have that
side.
role
The
model?
boy
Like
side.
I was raised with nothing but women.
Okay.
I got
Okay.
So
six
how
sis-
did that affect you?
I have
Yeah,
6
exactly.
sisters, and I
Oh,
was,
wow.
I was raised by my mother, and it actually empowered me more to be a better man because I saw everything that they were missing and everything that they went through.
Okay.
Actually, my brother was raised more on my dad's side, and he's another whole different mentality of being a man. He thinks being a man is providing cash, providing,
Hunter,
gatherer.
protection, providing, like all that, all the above of what being a man is in society. But me, I know I have to, since I was raised with a lot of women, I was raised by my mother, I saw all the emotion she went through, I know that I need more. It takes more than the man. It takes more than being a man. Sometimes you have to tune into the female emotional side and so have emotional support.
How does
have
that
a-
factor into the privilege side?
To the privilege side, so that gives me privilege because like I know what a woman kind of like is asking for it time just because I've been raised around some, like I've been around
He
women.
knows what
So,
we're really asking, we're not
yeah,
asking.
when
it,
exactly
you know?
right. So that's a good thing. Like I thought it was a bad thing. I've been a stylist. I design jewelry. I dance. That's all female like stuff. But it makes me like it gives it like women see that they see that in me, and then they're like they respect it because I'm able to express the love that I was given to me. I'm able to express it back out, and it's a female energy, you know.
It is.
And I have a privilege in that to be able to pick up that, tune into that female energy, and to be able to give that expression back, and then for females to acknowledge it it's a privilege to me. I don't know if women can do that. I don't know if women can be raised by man, and like being able to. I think it works the same way. Because I think I've met women who've been raised by nothing but brothers and women and men and their dads, and then they're able to understand me better as a man. Just knowing, like, you know, don't let your man leave the house without hungry and horny type shit.
That's true.
So you gotta
fix one or the other, maybe not always both.
So I think it's not.
Do it on the same day, maybe.
Like that's how you want to treat a man. Make sure his belly is when he gets his hard belly.
Go through his stomach, feed him.
feed
It's
him.
real simple.
So
girls.
young men need their moms. You know that
Yeah.
they gravitate towards that. But when they're approaching adulthood, about to go out into the world, and they're gaining their confidence to go be on their own, they turn to their fathers or whichever strong parental figure, if you will.
Yeah.
So
But
maybe
for
what I'm
you,
trying to
it's,
say at a shorter thing is like men are privileged to not really need their dad. We don't need a father figure. We do need a man in our life, but not necessarily our dad.
But we definitely need mamas.
But we definitely need a mom.
Everyone
God love
needs
moms.
a mother and a father figure. I
So
think, I think everyone needs
But if
both.
there's a father who can give that motherly love to their kids, because I'm also a single father. I have custody of my 2 kids. I give them a lot of love, like motherly love. But I'm not a mother. Like I have to give them hugs constantly, kisses constantly.
Yeah.
Like show them that it's okay to feel emotional. It's okay. So it's really hard. I guess it's like every.
But on the other end of the spectrum, there's like my mom who's like just running it, own house, like fixes her own car, climbs a mountain at the end of the day, kind of thing.
I would love to see my mom
You got
climb a
different
mountain.
variations of everything.
So I guess like
She's gonna
gender.
kill me for saying that.
Like gender, probably there is no privilege in gender. It's probably just what's really inside of who we are.
Society, man.
Right.
The sociological mentality is just flawed still. We're getting there. We're progressing slowly, but still forward, Alicia, you've been a little quiet. What you thinking?
I think you're bubbling up.
She's-
so-
I know. She's ready.
She's ready to come out with something.
I just, I think that the things that you talk about are based on the experiences of your own life and how you grew. I don't think anyone could replace a father in someone's life, and I don't think anyone can replace a mother. And I do believe that how you are and how you believe is affected by how you were raised.
Absolutely.
As far as male privilege, my mind automatically went to this thing I saw recently that said, if a female impetuously kisses a man, then it's romantic. But if a male impetuously snatches a kiss from a woman, he is a rapist.
Creepy. Yeah.
If a woman accidentally goes into a male's restroom, oh, it's okay, honey. But if a male does it accidentally, he's a pervert. I feel like there is female privilege in certain areas, big time, where there isn't male privilege. And I think when they talk about male privilege, a lot of times people think about work. And then also I think there's a myth of, men being raised to feel like they can't be emotional and they can't express themselves and they should just suck it up. I think that leads to a lot of mental disorders. If I have a member of my family who he grew up being told walk it off and suck it up, and he was just so pent up that when he went off to college he didn't even speak to his family for his entire freshman year, and now he backpacks around. He's dropped out of school trying to find himself, and because he was always stifled and told how he was supposed to feel and how he was supposed to think. And I do believe men are the providers. And I'll get killed on that one online, I know.
It's okay.
But I think that we were all created with purpose. And that we're not equal, but that doesn't mean we're not equally loved. We're not equally important. I think men and women are different on purpose for purposes. And I don't think women can't fix cars and have a passion for that and do it. It doesn't mean, you know, she has to be just a wife. But I think there are a lot of women, I feel like, intrinsically who are motivated to become a homemaker rather than an airline pilot or something. And that may be the shortage of applicants, not that people are trying to put women in their place, but
that they're simply not
there
going
may
out
not
for
be, I mean, you know, I don't think people should be shoved down and told their passions aren't valid if they're a female or a male.
Or if they want to be a homemaker or be a pilot.
Yeah,
Or
I
be
mean,
something like in a tech
if
field.
I had the opportunity, honestly, and I love science, I taught it, I did competitions, I love my art, I love my music, but you know, when I was a little girl, I wanted to be a mom, and I wanted to be the one to cook and clean and make, you know, be hospitable and have desserts ready for people to come in.
And doilies.
I wanted to do that, you know.
Yeah.
And in society, we had to be a you know, double income family. So I missed out on a lot of my kids' childhoods. They're 17 through 24, and that's time I'll never get back.
Yeah.
And that's something I wanted to do, but you know, I think everyone's different. But I do think there's like a thing where guys are, you know, if a hostage situation occurs, you know, the guy should get up and jump in front of the female.
Ideally, yeah.
Is that privilege?
It depends who's there.
That's what I call
The female might do it.
That's getting mad.
Like I said earlier, before we started the show, I was like, women go walk in first, so we are privileged. We get the better view.
You're a butt
And I drop my sometimes.
Sometimes we do get the better view.
Yeah, it's really interesting. You guys brought my mind just to a memory because I became a single mom at one point in my life, and when my children became teenagers, oh my God, they were 13 months apart. And they're probably going to kill me online for this. Hi, boys. They became a total handful. And I remember an instance which my son actually later asked me to forgive him for this. I won't say which one it was. We were in Arizona for a contract that I had. And my son had, you know, they had created a collection of friends. And he needed the truck that night, and I said, no, you can't have it, you need to go in and go to bed, it's time for school. One of them was inside the house, which, you know, the door was locked, and I had the keys to the truck outside, and he just, you know, stepped in the truck and got in the car and drove off without me. House keys and everything and whatnot, and I stood there in the road like, what the heck, you know? And then I went and knocked on the window where my other son was sleeping. I said, could you please let me into the house? Because I can't get in. And of course he came back later, and, you know, the car was there and everything was fine, and, you know, and we didn't talk for a few days.
Of course.
And so this was how it was back then, you know, that you go through things like this. Is that now privilege? No, it was just disrespectful.
Just teenager
You know, this teenage stuff. But years later, my son apologized to me for that. He said, gosh, I'm so sorry. I was a brat. I never should have done that. And so, but here, then that's just, you know, raising your children to a point where they became adults and became normal. He's now the father of 2 children. He just had one month ago, both girls. I feel so sorry for him.
This time is coming.
Yes. But anyway, that's, you know, thank you for that memory, for bringing that back, because it's like, it's so hard for single mothers to raise boys. And at one point later, they did gravitate more towards their father. They're very close to him now, which I'm proud of. I think that's wonderful.
I mean, to be honest, sons, a mother can, and I used to go to church. I was the one when I was married.
Yeah.
I wanted them to come to church, and a son can hear from his mother all day long that God is real and God is powerful, but if he looks around and only sees other women in the church,
Right.
and his father doesn't, spur that on, I feel like certain things guys need to hear from another man to know
Absolutely.
that this is okay. It's okay to love God, and it's okay to be emotional, to express your feelings. And that's just, there's certain things even if I look it up, and I know how to talk to my son about it, it's going to sound different to him coming from me, a woman,
Of course.
than it would from his father or a man that he trusts.
Yeah, of course.
And the same with little girls. I went through a lot as a kid, and I didn't have someone for a long time in my childhood telling me that I was valuable, that I was pretty, that, my mom could tell me all day long, but she's supposed to because she's my mom. And even though it would have come from my father, since it didn't.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
So I mean, as a kid from a split family, there's, certain instances where I feel like I'd go to my mom, or certain instances that I'm like, no, I gotta go talk to my dad, or some instances that I don't even want to talk to either of them, and I'll call it family.
Pick the best person for the job. That's what I've always done.
Call your aunts, your uncles.
Brand.
An uncle,
What
a
family
trusted
member is most
teacher.
sympathetic
Right.
to this?
Yeah. So I mean, it's situational depending on what you need guidance in, what life situation you're in. But I mean, so, man, where were we at? We started with male privilege, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
To
we
it.
did.
All right. So, did you guys see that booth set up at TCU?
Yes,
Did
I
you
actually
see that?
looked it up.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we actually looked at it together in the room, the three of us did, and I showed it to them. That guy.
Shocking, right?
Yeah, it was
Oh my
like,
God.
yeah, he did not do very well.
It did not go well for him.
No, it did not.
What happened?
He's going to get railed over social media, especially if he's on Twitter.
Well, he did get railed over social media, like
Yeah,
bad.
tore him apart.
He did.
Yikes.
I think the commentary was that it did not go very well for him.
I watched part of that video and I was just like, I am so sorry, and I put my phone down.
That guy better live in a Motel 6 somewhere for a while and lay low,
Right?
I think.
Just low key, man.
Just low-key. Order pizza.
Right. So again, this is the Whine No Whine Show, Artist Edition. I think we're almost ready to take some comments from all you wonderful people viewing. We're gonna get some advertisements rolling now or later.
We're gonna go first, and then commercials, and then music.
All right, so we're gonna get some comments rolling and see what y'all think. Commercial first. So we're gonna take a break for our sponsors, and we will see you again here in just a minute. Thank you again for tuning in to the Whine No Whine Show, Artist Edition. I'm your host, Chris Weston. These are our amazing guests. We will see you in a minute.
Do you suffer from chronic back pain? There is a solution to the suffering. The Body Mechanics, an orthopedic and medical massage focused practice that specializes in helping clients work through and overcome musculoskeletal injuries and chronic pain. By applying our science-based concepts through the art of massage therapy techniques, we can help you eliminate that pain. At the Body Mechanics, we take it as our responsibility to provide our clients with the highest level of care. We take time to get to know you, your history, and your obstacles, and most importantly, your wellness goals. We help you meet your goals through skillfully applied advanced massage therapy techniques and recommending self-care routines to improve overall well-being. Come in today and let the Body Mechanics apply our years of training and expertise to soothe away your aches. Mention this ad and receive our functional movement assessment for free, a $35 savings.
We're live?
Yeah, we're live.
We're live.
Can you move that camera out of the
I
way?
just adjusted.
Yep. Here. Move it this way.
Thanks, sir.
Yes, sir.
Are you?
Go ahead, talk, Chris.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Whine No Whine Show, Artist Edition. We're going to take some comments from our guests, and we're going to get some
Right after
music
this
rolling from you. So, after this performance by Alicia and our favorite man in the world, Joe, Joe's playing piano for us tonight.
First time ever on the Thursday show. I think so.
Yes, welcome to your show.
Officially.
Yes.
My show.
And we like literally learned this like
Couple minutes
30
ago.
minutes before the show.
Got I wasn't actually supposed to be on the show tonight.
Yes.
Thank you for
Yes.
pulling through.
So please don't make fun of this as we practice it like twice. So, you know, here we go. You know.
And there I find you in the mystery, the ocean's deep, my faith will stand, and I will call upon your name, and keep my eyes above the waves. My soul will rest in your embrace, for I am yours, and you are mine. Your grace abounds in deepest water. Your sovereign hand will be my guide. Where feet may fail and fear surrounds me, you've never failed, and you won't start now. So I will call upon your name, and keep my eyes above the waves. When ocean roars, my soul will rest in your embrace, for I am yours, and you are mine. And you are Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the water wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the water wherever you will call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the water wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. Oh, Jesus, you're my And I will call upon your name, and keep my eyes above the waves. My soul will rest in your embrace, for I am yours, and you are mine.
Yeah. Amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing, Alicia. Joe, I didn't know you know how to play piano.
Oh, I just learned tonight.
Okay, very cool.
That's a
Very
really good Fast track learner.
You know, YouTube videos.
Thank you.
Gotta
Yeah,
love
of
it.
course.
And
Absolutely.
I like this
Pretty
song.
amazing.
I've never actually performed it. I've only heard it, and they were like, "What songs do you know?" I
We
was
need
like,
music.
Yeah. That was
Musician
amazing.
wasn't able to
It was
show
very
up.
brave
I
of
was
you
like-
to do that.
I was
It
like,
wasn't
"Oh my
easy.
gosh!" But I ate cheese pizza, so my loogies are gonna come. Sorry.
That was a
Too much information.
No,
The-
it's not. It's fine.
the musical talent had a big family issue tonight, and with their father, it was a big family problem, and it was a
Well,
pretty
that
serious
happens.
deal.
That happens.
And so they literally, like last minute, had to bail. And we like to have music on the artist edition of the show.
Of course.
Ah.
So, you know, it's, hey, what can we knock out, you know?
That was
Yes.
awesome.
So, you know, hey, lots of fun. I'm like, sure, I'll download those chords. Let's go. All right.
Man,
That was cool.
Good
Good
job.
job.
so
Good
much.
job.
Thank
Good
you.
job.
Claire, for
I
that.
was honored. All
I'm
right, so
not gonna sing.
now the
Another
fun
sing
part.
first?
Now we don't have a commercial break to haul this piano out of here. So we'll try to figure this out. So stall time.
All
All right,
right.
what camera are we on?
We're dead center.
Dead center. All right. Nick.
Oh, yeah,
Nick.
I sing
Am I live?
tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
We're moving a piano out right
We are
now.
now moving
We'll be
this
right
back out.
back
Yep,
in a
we're done.
minute. So once we get back, once we get the piano out, we're going to take some comments that our producers picked that they felt were their favorites. So make sure you
Camera move.
comment, put in
Oh my
your 2
God, are you
cents.
okay?
No, I almost freaked out about a camera.
Once we get everything
I
situated,
don't want his camera messed up.
we're juggling
Oh.
that
That's
keyboard
nice,
in and
I
out.
like that.
Stalling.
Yeah, it's.
I like
Stalling.
that.
No,
Who likes
that's
wine?
stalling.
That's
You're
a-
just enjoying
a
watching
matter.
this flounder.
He's empty.
I have some really
You can
nice
give me
mics and some nice sound systems at home too.
He when I retired from teaching to start working on doing the things I dreamt doing all my life besides becoming a mom. He's got his degree in music production and was working on a master's in music, and every time he said, if we had this mic, you know, we would be able to capture everything, and I could.
Oh yeah, it's a real
Every time he
nice-
said we need, I would be like, okay, where's the funds, Lord? And
There's
just
the funds,
so
right?
We needing
that-
both of us.
right, that
Plural.
microphone was one of our important purchases, and we love it.
That's
We
awesome.
baby it.
should.
Oh, here I will now.
Everybody
Without,
get it. All right.
Okay, here
without
is-
worrying about my
Oh,
voice.
Jordan Anderson wants.
Cool. All right, so we got some comments finally rolling. Jordan Anderson, give me one non-anecdotal piece of evidence that supports male privilege.
He's talking data.
What city
Oh
does he
gosh,
live
I got
in?
it on the
Really?
phone out there.
Right.
You can't go
Alicia,
get
you
it.
want to take this one away?
I actually have no data that supports male privilege. There are probably people out there who do, but I'm not actually as we're all a panel. I'm not one of the believers that there is male privilege. I think it's situational, and I think it
Well-
also is dependent on the person in the situation too. I think everyone
Definitely.
has a different lens.
Well, actually, that's true, but there is research which you can actually do an internet search and you can find some anecdotal pieces for people that believe the evidence exists. None of us are an authority on it. We were given this information for a topic when we came in this evening.
Right.
So there are researchers that exist that have actually written thesis on this information. So you can actually go hunt that up on the internet and find your anecdotal piece of evidence. That's what I suggest.
The other thing about that is
Well, I mean, I'm just saying.
It's true though.
Here we go.
Oh, I love Mars. Hi, Mars.
do not.
Men do not lose their jobs when they have babies.
Neither do you.
Neither do women.
Do ladies?
I've
No.
never had a
It's
baby,
illegal for us
so
to
I've
lose
never
our
lost
jobs.
a job because of a baby.
I thought they
Yeah.
did maternity leave.
They do maternity leave.
By
They do
choice.
but I'm going to tell you something. I took a contract for a company. I won't say who they are. And I went in and I served that contract for a woman who was on maternity leave.
Mm-hmm.
She came back and she took her job, and I walked out the door.
Yeah.
So
I've
the
done
women the women are the people that take those jobs for ladies that are on maternity leave, or even gentlemen who are on maternity leave will lose the job because they're taking a short contract and they know that. The ladies that are the gentlemen that are on maternity leave will not lose their jobs. They get their jobs back.
Yeah, they do.
that
I mean, I've been a
it's-
temp for pretty much every company here in Houston. I'm an administrative assistant, but I'm also have a degree in English.
Okay, here's the
Uh,
next one.
My
Here's
ex-husband.
the next
Oh,
one.
the
I just
next
want to
one.
make sure.
Whoops.
everybody got
We're-
Yeah, he
I
actually took
mean-
a maternity leave. My ex-husband.
Oh,
We're
Yeah.
not
So
back
we
on
still
yet.
on this one?
Yep.
Okay,
still on this one.
Okay, like I just said, I've
Mhm.
I've temped for a lot of ladies like in the office at many companies that were on maternity leave or they were sick or whatever it was, and then when my time was up, they went back to their jobs.
But I think that's the nature of a temp job.
But I mean, they
It
weren't
is.
losing their job though. I think they can. I mean, if they choose to stay home, but the thing is, it's not paid maternity leave. So I don't know how you would
Varies of
support
circumstantial.
yourself
My,
not being
my
paid.
ex-husband,
Yeah.
with our third kid, he took the maternity leave and he was not paid. We just had to make a financial adjustment.
That's
And,
terrible.
Yeah, in education, I would have gotten paid maternity leave, but I had just signed my contract, so you have to be there so many months before you get that.
Yeah, you
90
have to
days.
you have to earn that
And
benefit.
it was just
depending on
something that he wanted to do. He didn't get to do it with our older two, and so he wanted to spend that time. He says that time was worth every penny he would have ever
That's
made.
so
Yeah.
cool.
That's awesome.
And that he wished he could have done it with the older two, and I do think that men should be able to take
Yeah, I
the
don't
maternity
really agree because I would do the same for my children. I'll stop working.
Issue
That's
with
awesome.
that, yeah.
But he did lose his job.
Oh,
He had
okay.
to quit and find another job whenever it was time.
Wow.
Being
But it was
Mr.
worth it, though.
Mr. Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
That's
worth
awesome.
it.
Okay.
Next comment. All right, Samantha. All right, a man can walk down the street or go for a jog without being called out to like
Wow.
a piece of meat. A woman walks down the
That's not
street
true.
and almost every car honks at her and catcalls her.
Where do you live,
That-
Samantha? Nobody walks in Houston.
I know,
They'll get run over.
I need some affirmation.
Seriously.
I mean,
Or
I'm
you'll
not, I'm
trip
not,
off the many
I-
cracks and ditches.
Have you
and-
ever gotten catcalled?
Yes, I'd get caught at nightclubs and like walking down
Yeah.
down the bars and stuff.
Yeah.
Like it happens to guys too.
Do you?
It really, yeah. Oh, especially in
handsome guys,
Montrose.
you know?
I mean, you don't know how many drinks I've been offered. And I'm just like, I would love a drink, thank you. And then I say, thank you, I had a great night, I'm going. And then, you know, but
So
see,
it-
guys
it-
are trying to take advantage of me, man. Come on.
Taking advantage of you.
Goodness.
I gotta say, I got honked at the other day. I was going into the gas station and I was excited. I mean, I'm sorry, ladies, but I'm in my 40s and I thought you still got
I
it.
would be.
Oh, yeah.
I would be. I went into a grocery store and I wrote this on my Facebook. This hippie-looking kid and his mom run the produce. I walked right in there and he's like staring, not at my, obviously I've got this going on today. and he was staring and his mom was not happy about it. So I just kind of pushed my cart away.
Around the corner.
And then all of a sudden I kept seeing him a couple times. And I'm going, okay, this kid, no, he's with his mom. I'm in my 40s, and it's flattering, but no.
Yeah.
So then I go to the register, and then they come up behind me, and he's like staring at me, bend over, and like do all this. And I go to my car, and there they are again. I'm like, oh my god.
How old was he?
He was with his mom, so I guess he was a teenager. I'm like, I felt like a pervert. I didn't even do anything. He's like staring at me, bending over in my car. I got these short shorts on. I'm like, here's the show, kid. And then his mom is giving me darts. I'm like, I had no
I'm
idea
just
you parked
living
there.
here. I'm just existing.
It was flattering, but not from a kid and his mom.
As far as catcalls go, I
Is that
think
male-
of
is that
like
male privilege?
black and white, like
That's male
construction.
privilege.
site,
His
you know?
mom just, just looking at me like I was the problem.
It was comedic
I didn't
relief
do
for me.
anything.
When the cat call happened, it was a gas station. There were workers sitting on the curb, and they kind of snickered a bit, and I just turned around and went, I know. And then they laughed harder, so it was fun.
I think if you don't see the cat calls as a threat, you can do that. But I think some women see them as a threat.
But
They're
getting back
threatening.
to what Samantha is talking about, I want to respect what she's
It
feeling.
probably happens a lot more to women than it
and
does to
and
men.
it
and we
probably does happen a lot more
And we
to
should take it
women
more
than it does
seriously
to men.
because-
And take it seriously
seriously.
because I want to respect what she's feeling here.
Yeah,
I don't want to make light of it. I understand how she feels. Samantha,
I mean, it's
I just
almost
want to
harassment.
say that unfortunately, there are some men out there that do not respect women, and that does happen. It doesn't happen everywhere. It happens in certain areas of the city more so than others. So the only thing I can say is take care where you're walking. and take care of your surroundings and be aware of the fact that some places are not as safe as others. Just have to kind of be aware of, you know, where you are and who's looking at you.
Is that vulnerability?
Yeah,
if
it's a
I'm out by
vulnerability.
myself.
And it can be a security thing too.
Yeah. It's to me, it's a threat. It's like I assess the threat. Like,
Mhm.
who is it? And some people say, oh, if he was a hot guy, you would be threatened. Yeah, I would. If I
be
considered him a threat, no matter what he
It
looks like.
could be dangerous.
It could be a serial
It doesn't
killer.
matter to
You
me.
never
He
know.
could have like a three-piece suit. He could have
That's right.
Serial
tattoos.
killers are good
It's
looking.
how it
Yeah.
happens,
Well
whether I
focused.
think he's a threat, whether I think he's going to hurt me or not.
This
So
is true.
to me, it's all about the situation,
And-
guys. Don't be honking your horns.
And I want to
and
address that.
Samantha.
I want to go back for a second and address the first part of that sentence. It says a man can walk down the street or go for a jog without being called out like a
to
piece
like
of
a
meat.
piece of meat.
Here's a concern that I want to say about that. Serial killers also and other types go after men too.
That's true.
That
Jeffrey
escalated
Dahmer
quickly.
went after men.
And you know, so this is a thing. My background is cybersecurity and security, and so I want to address that because I just want to just let you know that can also be a concern for men too. So so don't discount that too quickly. Men are also looked at like a piece of meat by other men as well.
That's true.
And they
And other
can
ladies.
and they can do a cat call, and sometimes women do cat call men too.
I would
If
love
we're
to
good
catcall
looking,
men,
yeah, running down the
honestly. I
street.
think
Like if
it's
me and him
absolutely,
were running
sure.
down the street shirtless, probably, yeah.
I think it's a personality thing too. Like
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
never like catcall someone.
No, if I
even
see
man,
a hunky guy jogging, I'm not gonna catcall to him, but I'll think it in my mind, like,
Like
God.
screaming out your window.
Wow, this is
flying down the road.
But no, I'm not gonna go scream out at him from the car because that makes me look like I'm low hanging trash.
It's a matter of
Hey,
respect,
baby!
Or
Well,
day
it's
drinking.
a
you
matter.
never know.
It is a matter of respect,
Yeah, it
and
is
a matter
respect.
of self-respect too.
Yeah.
People that do or are engaged in this kind of activity don't have any self-respect for themselves.
Yeah, I agree.
So, or the people that
They
do
just
it
don't
to.
think that they're threatening because if you're
Yeah.
a woman and you're out there by yourself, I would feel more threatened than I was with somebody else.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
I think we kind of
Yeah.
killed that horse. didn't we?
Yeah.
helps you.
All right.
So, final topic.
Final topic. All right, guys. So
Wrap up.
this is the Wine No Wine show. We were discussing is male privilege a myth? Wow, we got a lot of good stuff out there. So, man, all right. Final closing thoughts. What do y'all want to put out into the open as your resolution, your final statement, Alicia?
me first.
I mean, you're my
I'll
guy.
go first.
All right.
Ladies go
All right,
first.
men-
No,
Going
everyone.
kinda
No,
like
okay,
us.
well,
It was female
let's
privilege.
do men first.
All right,
Yeah.
men first. Y'all want the good view, huh?
I do want the good view.
Yeah.
I'm gonna steal
And
your
the good
ideas.
hair.
I think gender privilege is myth. Like any gender, it depends on the situation and on the background. That's a lot of assets to
Definitely.
to follow through with
Mm.
before it's even a privilege. So
Definitely.
that's my final statement.
Cool.
Is that your final answer?
Yes,
So, Alicia, what you think? What's your
I-
final verdict? Is male privilege a myth, or is it very real, or is female?
I agree
privilege
with
a
Yuri. I
thing as
think
well?
it's a situational thing, and in fact, like if the show wasn't just about is it a myth, I mean, there's a lots of support, anecdotal, because that's I don't know how you would measure it with data, but I think there's support for double standards for people who say that men have privilege and say they want equality, but what they mean is they want females to be elevated above men. And there's situations where, like I said, in bathrooms and different things like that, men are looked at in a bad way, like an attacker or a pervert, whereas females are just seen as, spontaneous and romantic. So
Why can't men be viewed like that too, though?
that's what I'm saying.
'Cause
you
we're-
Yeah,
know,
if
like-
a man walked into a locker room, he'd be seen as a pervert.
If a
female,
female-
hey, come on in.
Oh, another one. If a female, if a female starts hitting a man in public, people wonder what he did.
I think no one should be
Literally.
hitting anybody.
If a man hits a female in public, he is just a beast, and how dare him
Have you
ever,
seen
and
social
police are
experiments
called,
on
and-
that? They've had actors do
Yes.
both, and usually if the
Yes.
female's beating him, no one intervenes.
Right.
No one.
They think, what did he do?
That's just
so
wrong.
Yeah, that is wrong.
That's
That is very
not
wrong. I got
male
beaten
privilege.
before.
No, nobody deserves
Men are
that.
supposed to take it, but
No.
women are supposed to be saved.
But if you watch on YouTube, there's social experiments that I've seen. But the actress was doing it to him. Oh yeah, they intervened, but
Right
doing it to
away.
him, they were like actually supporting her.
Mhm.
You don't beat him. You don't degrade somebody out in public.
Right.
Whether you're
There's a lot of women
male
who
or
take
female.
advantage of that, and that's where they're privileged at.
No,
Exactly.
no, I don't think.
But
that's
it
right at all.
exists.
It does
It
exist, but
exists.
it's not right either way. You should
If a
not.
man-
But then it goes both ways. Like there's men who use they advantage. They take advantage
If
of
a man-
certain situations.
Yeah, I know they do.
Situationally, yeah.
If a man and man and woman are in a fight in public, even usually the man is viewed negatively. Like, what did he
Like
do?
more
He's
aggressive?
assaulting her. He's
Yeah.
because he is naturally more aggressive. Well, I shouldn't say that because there's lots of aggressive females.
Maybe he's
too.
mean-
bigger than she is physically.
But usually people feel sorry for the girl and
I-
think the guy is a booty
what
hole.
if she was 6'2", 250 pounds?
I
and I'm
think
like
they're both. They
5'4",
both have
120
responsibility,
pounds.
regardless of how big or small they are.
What if Helga came after me? I'm only 150
Ronda
pounds.
Rousey could
you
kill
know?
me? Seriously.
And there are little girls who pack a lot of dynamite too.
Yeah.
They got claws and everything.
Yeah, there's a lot of little girls who beat up a lot of big guys.
seen
You
the movie
shouldn't be.
Kick-Ass?
It
'Cause they
doesn't
feel
matter.
safe.
You shouldn't be hitting anybody, regardless.
Assault is assault.
Yep, it's assault.
Man, that's assault. All right, guys, this is the Whine No Whine show. We are closing in on the end of our discussion today. Do y'all have any events or plugs y'all want to do before the end? I know Alicia got to play. I know we have some jewelry to show off real quick before the end of the show.
Yeah.
I wanted to say a little something about Pro Executive Coaching. That's my company.
Very cool.
So I do leadership coaching for aerospace professionals and cybersecurity professionals. That's what I do.
That's super cool.
That's my coaching stuff. And you know where I stand on this male thing.
Male thing.
Yeah.
This male, what is it?
Privilege.
privilege.
Male privilege.
So,
No problem.
is it a myth then? Yes, no?
No.
I think it's kind of a little bit of both.
Situational.
Yeah.
Hmm. Super interesting.
Can I show off? my
Yes,
I'm-
please. Can't
This
wait.
is your time to shine, bro.
All right. So
All right.
the necklace I'm wearing, it's silver, glass, and mammoth ivory.
Wow.
The silver
Cool stuff.
is handmade. The glass also it's implemented into the silver that I made, and the mammoth ivory. I go to a lot of Native American sweat lodges and I trade silver for different finds.
Mhm.
And I 3D print a lot of my jewelry. Very organic. I kind of like. I started off making things by hand, and then as I grew, I found technology, and then I implemented technology into the way I make my things, and then I implemented nature into my technology, into my handcraft, and it just became a big calamity of just beautiful jewels that no one has ever. I'm just taking jewelry to a whole different level, implementing technology, art, and like nature. So,
That's
awesome.
so if you ever have,
Super cool.
yeah, I mean, I do restorations. I mean, I do repairs. I do creation. I create from scratch. I do. You bring me your whatever you have in mind, and we make it to reality. You know.
That's so cool.
And you can reach me on Instagram at UGV, my personal page. Simple 3 letters UGV, and that's my initials. Uriel Garcia Vega. Uriel is URIEL. Last name Garcia -Vega. You can Google it. You can see a lot of my work. I've done very fine jewelry for like Leonardo DiCaprio, Mariah Carey, Beyonce. I've done hip hop jewelry for Waka Flocka, Gucci Mane, Soulja
Awesome.
Boy.
Wow.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm so
I see your
behind.
contact
I'm
list
so
on your phone.
behind. I'm like behind the scenes, but I'm so behind the scenes that now I'm on the front because I got tired of being hidden
Yeah.
from public. So now you can contact me directly at 832-929-2191, or you can check out my website, followthejewels.com.
Followthejewels.com.
That's awesome.
What a
I
great
like
that. That's
Cool.
good.
website.
good.
All right,
And
guys, this is
Instagram @followthejules HOU.
all right, guys. This was the Wine No Wine Show Artist Edition. We were discussing, is male privilege a myth? Tune in tomorrow for the Wine No Wine Show. Make sure you guys look up all our amazing artists. I'm Chris Weston. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're out.